What's going on, Vidly? I'm back with another video. So this is a review, or not. Well, it's kind of crazy because I'm the person who made the book, but kind of an overlook of my new book, Purpose Driven. It released on yesterday on Amazon.com. So the book, um, so far I don't know if anybody purchased it because Amazon doesn't, like, Amazon, you don't really know who purchased your book. You just kind of, hope somebody bought it. But okay, I'm back. So I'm going to start giving an overlook of my book, Purpose Driven. So Purpose Driven is a pretty short book. It's about the same length as my first book, A New Beginning, I made way back in 2014. This book, even though it's short, it has a lot of content in it. It has like meaty content. So if you're a person who likes to read, I mean, it's still enjoyable. And this is poetry, so and so poetry books are usually shorter than novels. So if you're used to reading novels, then this is probably not gonna be for you. But if you're used to, but if you like listen to music, because music. Anyway, I'm back. So what I was saying earlier was that if you like listen to music, you mostly listen to albums that have like 13, like 15 tracks on an album. That's what this book is like. David has an album, seven with poems, and it's just that, is reading versus listening. So it's a little bit less passive than it's the music. But anyway, let's get on with the content of the book. So the inspiration behind this book is basically me, just really, really, been just been reflecting on my life this past year. 2017 was a very monumental year for me. It was a year where I turned 21, so I'm officially a man now. It was the year that I created my own website. I created the Pen Talk back in June, so just weeks from my 21st birthday. It was the year that I was expecting to graduate college, RCC, but that didn't happen. So that was a little bit of disappointment there. And it was the year where I really started taking YouTube seriously because because YouTube was like the only way I could really get a fan base. At least at the time I thought it was, but I'm gonna get into that a little later. And so that's what 2017 was for me in a nutshell. It was a very monumental year. I had a lot of ups, had a lot of downs, I had a lot of disappointments. I had a lot of people told me no, but I did have some victories. I did have some moments where I felt like I accomplished something, where I felt like I progressed. I felt like I grew as a person, especially towards the latter end of 2017, the latter half of 2017. That when I started, learning about, marketing, learning about social media, how to use social media and how to like gain followers. Like that's when, things started changing for me. I've dabbled into like Periscope, and I dabbled into Instagram Live. I started dabbling into different social media apps. But it wasn't until around August when I really found my sweet spot, and that was known as Vitly, and Vitly would help me grow in an audience. It helped me position myself for you know what's to come for 2018, because when I came to Vidly, Vidly is a brand new site. It just launched last June. So the site is very new. It's a baby. And when I came to the site, it was only 2 months old. So, people just look for like fresh new content, and they look for original content. And I came in as a poet, and nobody knew, and I was the very first poet on that website. Like nobody ever seen that before, because poetry, because nobody, because the community is mainly, young kids. It's mainly, kids who are into like animation and drawing and sorry. Well, it's mainly into but the community is mostly, animation and gameplay videos and stuff like that. Stuff that, attracts younger viewers. So I know my content's a little different, but they still appreciate it because my poetry, while some of my poems can be a bit complex, it can be a bit you have to like, intellectual. A lot of my poems are pretty simple to understand. Most of my poems are pretty simple to understand. Because again, I was writing poetry when I was, I was writing poetry at 14. So, I knew I was going to get a niche audience the moment I saw that the moment I made my first video on the site, I had like 7 views. And I was like, holy crap, people actually paying attention to me because on YouTube, I was only get like 1 view, 2 views a video, and that was it. I kept upload videos every single day over the summer, and I wasn't getting nearly as many views I was getting at Vidly. So that's what made me switch over to Vidly, where I was getting way more views. I was getting subscribers, and eventually I was able to become one of the most top viewed channels of all time, and in a matter of months. Whereas YouTube, it would take years to get on that level. So anyway, purpose driven is basically talking about my life over the last year and how I went from being a person who was just struggling to find my purpose, what I'm going to do after college, because I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know, like, I knew why I knew I liked doing it. I knew why I want to do it, but I didn't know, like, my purpose, that, what legacy do I want to leave behind with my poetry, per se, and I kind of had ideas, but I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do as far as my poetry, because when I started writing poetry, I was mainly doing it for church people, for church folks. I was mainly doing it for like, because that's around the time when I got saved. That's around the time when I started to know God. So my poetry is mainly targeted towards those people. But then as I got older, my poetry started to become more about myself, kind of become more introspective type of deal. So that's when I was like, okay, well, I don't want to just I know people won't appreciate what I have to say because I'm speaking from like a real place. I'm speaking from a person who has struggled with identity issues, who struggled with, being told no, who struggled with, um, being picked on in school. Like I know people can relate to those things. So I just try to find like that one audience, that one niche audience that is gonna really be behind my poetry. And that was kind of something I struggled with, and then living in a small town and couldn't really find my audience per se, really. So when I came to Vidley, I just started, okay, well, I'm gonna try poems that I wrote for myself, and then I wrote poems for other people. That's what really got me views, and that's what people say. Oh, okay, we could do something with this guy. So that's how I was able to become quote unquote famous on that site, even though I got like a few thousand views, but still, that's way better than most people. So yeah. So anyway, let's go into the book. Purpose driven. I know I've been rambling a little bit, but here's the book. So the first poem I wrote is called Final Season. Final Season is basically talking about my final year of college, final year RCC. I'm expecting to graduate this May, so that's what the poem is basically talking about. I'm going to make sure that this year I'm going to make an impact. It won't be like last year where I was just kind of like all over the place. This year I have a purpose, I have a specific goal that I want to accomplish, and I want to, make a mark, you know, and not just graduating college, but I want to make a mark to where it's going to really change my life. That's what Fonzie is all about. Anomaly is basically talking about me being like a misfit, me being, um, anomaly just basically means that you don't fit in anywhere. That's what this poem is all about. Driven is the next poem. Driven is about being motivated, being passionate about something. What keeps you going? If it's money, is it fame, or is it Is it the people, your family? What keeps you going? That's what driven is about. All things work together. this poem was inspired. This poem was inspired by the album, the Craze new album. If you guys are a Craze fan, he made a new album called ATWT, which stands for All Things Work Together, which is based on the Bible verse Romans 8:28. Um, all things work together for the good who love the God. That verse, and that verse really stuck out to me because everything, all the disappointments I had to go through, just get to this point. Really, now it started to make sense to me. Now it's like, okay, now I know why God closed the door in my life. Now I know why I couldn't hang with this person. I couldn't be with that person. Now it started to make sense to me. That's what the poem was about. Stronger was talking about me being strong, me taking the high road, me taking the long way. I could have just took the easy route. I could have just been like every other teenager, but I did things that I did, things different. I followed Christ while I was in high school. I got made fun of because of it. Not just by kids at school, but family members. I got into debates. But I also made mistakes along the way. I made some really, really, I just really hurtful things while I was in while I was in the Lord, while I was walking with God. But I was able to come back from those issues, and that's what made me stronger. I was able to bounce back, even when things got hard, even when I was felt like giving up, I still stayed stuck with God. Youth. The next poem is called Youth. Youth is basically talking about my youth. Me being a teenager and stuff like that. What was it like? Me being in high school. Most of these poems is basically, going back to my, high school years of being a Christian. But this poem, is talking about, you know, like, even though now that I'm sort of young adult, I want to say, well, I want to make sure that these years I'm in right now, my 20s, I want to make sure these years are going to be, I want to make sure these years are the best years of my life. I want to do more. I want to create more. I want to use this opportunity, use the freedom I have now at 21 to really do something great and do something positive. That's what youth is all about. Innocence. That's the next poem. Innocence tells about um, just me being kind of like innocent, naive kind of kid. Um, even though I was pretty self-aware at a young age, it was, it's kind of, I kind of felt like, yeah, I kind of feel like, how can I say this? I kind of feel like, you know, um, like I'm like, wow, I really do stand out. Like the fact that I'm not doing things that every other person is doing that is common around college age students. That fact that I, didn't do the things that my peers were doing. I didn't do the things that everybody else told me that was cool and fun and edgy. I didn't get into those things. It shows how they preserve my youth, my while I was in my kind of age, while I was in my developmental years. Okay, so that's what innocence is all about. Ruth, story of Ruth. This is about Ruth from the Bible. If you're familiar with the book of Ruth, that's a chapter in the Bible in the Old Testament, which talks about a lady who leave her own country, and she and she leaves her own country to take care of mother-in-law, and now she gave a life of partying and he didn't give a life where she was able to party, she could do what she wanted to do, and whatever. But her sister, took the easy route and just say, I'm gonna do what's comfortable. I'm gonna do what's easy. While her sister took the hard route. So, because she knew that she'll be safe, even though it wasn't sexy, even though it wasn't attractive, even though it wasn't appealing to her, to appealing to the flesh, appealing to the human nature. She took care of her mother because she knew that because she knew she'll find fulfillment in that in the long run. Even though she might have got tired, even though she may have got frustrated, she would have found fulfillment in the long run versus just going out and drinking and stuff like that. So that's what the story of Ruth is all about. Losing a friend, that's the next story I put on the book. So this is about losing a friend at school. So I met this kid at school who's an ERG student. If you're not familiar with ERG College, it's basically a high school. It's basically a program for like high schoolers who are, instead of going to a regular high school, they go to a college. But they still do high school. You know, so in my situation, at my college, the ERG college goes from grades 9 to 13 or 9 to 12, but they have an extra year. They have a thing called super seniors where they have grade 13. So yeah. So basically I met this kid. He was kind of a nerd. He seemed really, it was something about him that really just really got my attention. And then, one day he was telling me about, his story. And then I was like, oh my God, we get along so well. We had a similar story, similar backstory, similar, issues, in our childhood. Like he seemed like a really cool guy. But then, his parents, because he was so much younger than I was, I ended up, not being able to talk to him no more. And that kind of hurt me. That kind of hurt me. But then I thought about the friends I made after I lost her. And I was like, okay, well, now this makes sense. Now it's starting to make sense to me. Now I see who my real friends are and just who my real friends are, who the people who have my back no matter what. So that's basically the gist of this story right here. So so now we in the latter half of the book where we talk more about my personal struggles and also stuff like that. All right, summer 2017. Summer 2017 is basically talking about where I was last summer. So over the summer, I was just going through a real period of just self awareness, a period of self, reflection, because a lot of things was going on, a lot of things weren't going my way, and then I was just like, okay, I really need to figure out what's my purpose is, what what direction God's trying to take me, because I missed out on graduation. I missed out on going to Atlanta because I was going to go to Atlanta. There was this lady came to Lombard, North Carolina. There was a lady who came to North Carolina, or no, just 15 minutes where I stay at Lombard, and she had a book out, and then she was a poet, she was a pastor, CEO, and stuff like that. She had all these um, titles under her belt, but but my student retention person told me not to go there, and she told me she was con artists and stuff like that, and I was like, whoa, it kind of really hurt me. So like that's why my mom was telling me not to go there anyway, but when she told me that, that's when it like really hit me, and I was just like, okay, well, so much for that. But then I just like, okay, God, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to do with me? Because I'm like, God, you gave me this gift, but I still know you gave me this gift, and I've been wanting to do it, and I've been, figuring out ways how can I utilize it, without, you know, figure out different ways I can utilize it, without, getting in trouble or anything like that. And, I can't really do anything locally, because my town's so small and like nobody's like really into poetry like that. And then if I have to drive and I don't have a license, and my mom was not going to drive like 2 hours just for me just to go to a poetry slam or whatever. So like, what can I do at this stage of my life? What can I do? And like, that's when everything changed that last summer. That's when I, started doing YouTube videos and started learning about building your personal brand. Then I found Vidly, which is a new video sharing site I talked about earlier in the video, and that's when things started to change. Passion, purpose, and practicality. That's another poem. It's basically inspired by a video I watched from a user named Roberto Blake. He talked about you know passion, finding your purpose. He basically the video was talking about basically it's a title of the poem, basically the title of the video, but like he was talking about people who know their passion but they don't know their purpose. And that was kind of my situation because I knew what I was passionate about. I knew that I want to do this, but I just didn't really know my purpose. And finding your purpose is different because finding your purpose like using what you're good at and doing it to uh, use what you're good at and doing it to do good, doing it to change the world pretty much. It may not, it may not, it may not, it may not be on TV. You may not get, news coverage or nothing like that. But but like it's basic behind the purpose. Basically, you want to create a legacy. You want to be remembered for something, doing something great. Think about people like Martin Luther King or people like um people like Martin Luther King, people like Oprah. People that we look up to as role models, or has looked up to as role models in society because they've done something great. They've done something that changed the world. They've done something that without them, we wouldn't have such and such. So that's what had the purpose all about. And then practicality is all about how to be smart about it. How to you know you know how to leverage your passion. That's what practicality is all about. So that's that poem. The next poem on this book is Between Both Worlds. This poem basically, talks about how I'm kind of like a in between. Like I'm not, even though I grew up in the hood, I've been around most of the people who I've been around were like white kids. Most people who I like, been around, most people who I talk to on a regular basis are white kids because we into the same stuff, we have the same interests, and we I kind of click, with those people who didn't grow up in the hood, pretty much, and I kind of seen both sides. I've seen people, where I live, go to this, may not have, the resources, they have the money, they didn't have the resources, and I see people on the other side of the spectrum who go the same things, but it's in a different, way. So that's what that poem is all about. The college letdown. Basically, it's a story about a young person who wants to go to college, but he don't know what to do, and like so he just picks a major that makes some money, but he realized that going to college, that if you go to college and you don't have a plan, you're going to be stuck with debt, and then you're going to be kind of lost. Kind of what you see in a lot of people who go to college. They don't know what do they want to do with their life, so they just pick something, but then they find that it's not really what they want to do, and now it's so much debt, and now I got rely on their parents, or I got to get a job and stuff like that. And this poem is kind of like me in a way, because I went to a college up out state, and I ended up paying loans. But this person, he figured out, that even though he had to pay, he was in student loan debt, he was still able to pay those back through finding his purpose, through finding, they say, okay, well, I like poetry, but I know that's not, you can't, I know that being a poet, it's gonna be, you gotta be creative and making money at it, because poetry to the world is considered a dead art form. So how can I make my poetry, relevant to people? And like that's how he figured out through networking. So that's a college letdown right there. Thankful is a poem I wrote on Thanksgiving of last year. It's basically saying I'm thankful for all these things that I have, and because I know that not everybody has things that I have. That's what thankful is all about. 2018 is about, this year. It's talking about, you know, it's talking about this year. It's talking about, what I wanted for this year, and just like, things I accomplished in 2017, and now I was able to accomplish so much in 2017. But now I'm going to continue the momentum I built last year to this year. That's what 2018 is about. And there's also kind of about what I want for you this year. That's why I released it, New Year's Day. So like you could start thinking about what you want to do. Like what is your goals 2018, and just keep remind yourself that. So that's what 2018 is about. So even though 2018 is going to be, this poem is not going to be as timeless as the other stuff I wrote on this book, but just think about when you make a New Year's resolution. You always say, "I want to lose weight. I'm gonna get out of debt. I'm gonna get a better job. I'm gonna be a better person. All these things." But like, soon as but like after, but like in a couple of days, just forget all about that. Throw out the window, and then so like this poem will just kind of helps you remind yourself, like, hey, that it's a new year. Hey, that even though you may messed up, you can still bounce back. So that's what 2018 is about. When I Blow Up is the last poem on the book. When I Blow Up, this poem's talking about uh when I really, when I get out of here, when I really, quote unquote make it, doing this, it's basically foreshadowing, my future. So I feel like I want to blow up. I feel like I'm going to, get more recognition from my poetry. May not be this year, may not be next year, but I see probably the next 5 years this is probably going to happen. And it's basically foreshadowing, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do with my notoriety. That I'm not going to forget where I come from. I want to make sure that you know kids have somebody to look up to. I want to make sure that I give back. I want to make sure that you know, that people know my struggle. People know that it wasn't easy. It wasn't an overnight success. It took years, took months. It took a lot of pain. It took a lot of sacrifice. Like that's what I want people to know, and that's when I blow up. So that's the heart behind this poem. So that's Purpose Driven in a nutshell. Hope you guys enjoy it. It's $5.99 on Amazon. You can also buy it on my website, thepenstalk.com. So this is Mario Walker. Thank you guys. Happy New Year.